Hey, everybody. Uh, Welcome. We'll do a little bit of a preamble here to let some late joiners come in if need be. Hopefully, some of you got the note about potentially opening and letting these sit for a while before we get into things, because there's one specific that's kind of high octane that I think shows pretty tight unless it gets some air to it. But even if you didn't by the second round, hopefully you'll get to see if it changes at all. Welcome to the Scotch Malt Whisky Society's April 2024 Outturn with Kensington Wine Market. My name is Evan. With me is Harmony. And we are excited to go through the 7 blinded whiskeys with you. So for the order, if you didn't see it in the email, we are starting with lemon and lime shortbread. Second one will be Say It With Flowers. And some weird names in the lineup here. I just don't get the references here. Third one is Push Pineapple Shake a Bee. Fourth one will be Bramble Ramble. Fifth one is the super high octane one at 67.7% alcohol. That's Garbanzo'S Cajun Train Ride. We will be hitting Pete with number 6 and a Flashing Blade. And we will cap the night off with POUDING CHôMEUR at the Shack, which is an interesting one. So that's the order. Of course, with the Scotch Malt Whisky Society Outturns, we always run them twice. First time will be the lightning round, where we go through, give our tasting notes and our ideas on the whiskeys in shorter order. And then we'll go through them the second time, where we reveal the missing information and set it up so that if you guys are interested in any of the bottles, you can purchase online at kensingtonwinemarket.com. But hopefully you guys have everything poured. And if you do, let's dive in with number 1, which is lemon and lime shortbread. So the pamphlet was in the tasting invite there as well. So hopefully if you wanted to have that open to follow along, you can. Cast type on number 1, lemon and lime shortbread, is second fill ex-bourbon barrel, distilled on 28th of June, 197 bottles in the Outturn, 59.3% alcohol.
I
It's just
definitely
noses. Yeah.
they nailed the lemon, but I'm also
Yeah.
getting like a little bit of like that cocktail in a can, like the juices and syrups from the cocktail in a
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, that's a good call. It does have that sort of like it's not just citrus, it's citric almost quality to it, like you're getting into bar lime and such.
Mm-hmm.
Some nice wood and a bit of chamomile on there for me as well. I think chamomile might just be my favorite tasting note or nosing note right now,
No,
even
there's
though it's
something
not
like
in cereal. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think kids would buy the chamomile cereal.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything, they just want sugar. They don't want to fall asleep afterwards calmly.
Mm-hmm. There's like a hint of cinnamon on here for me on the nose.
Mm. Like cinnamon stick, or more like the cinnamon and sugar mix that you put on toast?
No, I think stick. It feels like
Nice.
kind of spicy. So
Oh man. It's it's maybe a little bit tight, but at the same time, that's quite a soft palate. Like this is my first alcohol of the day, but that is, for what is this, 59.3% alcohol. It's got a bit
mhm.
of a bite, but it kind of just settles in on the tongue nicely.
Yeah, it feels good on the palate. It's like a little prickly on
Mm,
the front of the tongue. Um, but it's so juicy. You're just salivating.
yeah.
Um, that that acidic lemon and lime note. Um, and there is like a bit of the oils, like when you like
Hmm.
twist the skins of your
Yeah.
citrus fruit, like you get those oils on there.
Yeah. Good call. A little bit of like apple, like specifically apple peel on there, like a golden delicious apple peel, where it's not like the full-on sweetness of the apple itself, but you get a bit of tartness and a little bit of tannin from the peel, and then some pear notes on there as well for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pear for sure.
Mm. I can see why they put shortbread, because it does have that just sort of like subtle, soft creaminess to it. It's a tasty ground. I'm gonna try a few drops of water on mine just for kicks. Yeah, working whiskey. I've been trying to avoid that a little bit lately. It's we're surrounded by working whiskey when it comes down to it, which isn't a bad thing, but it's got to be taken in moderation, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more of like not quite sawdust, but like a polished wood note comes through with water. A little bit butterier, I find as well on the nose.
How much water did you add?
2 drops. Um, I would say this kind of falls into a dangerously drinkable territory for me. There's it's not like exploding out of the gates for number one, but it's like really nicely put together. Not full on subtle, but just really integrated and fruity without being over the top, going in any different direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with water, it definitely feels drier, and I think you get more of that oak presence, oak spice.
Mhm.
Um, I think this would pair really nicely with anything creamy and rich, like whether
Yeah.
you're talking like a cheesecake or ice cream, or even just some nice cheeses. Like, I think it's
Mhm.
just something to offset it there. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
it
I
they
love the
mentioned
nose.
almond they mentioned almond butters on the finish here,
Mm,
or to taste, and I was thinking even into like macadamia nut territory, where it's got the creaminess with just a hint of nuttiness to it. It's good stuff.
very nice.
Okay, let's go on to number 2 for our lightning round, which is called Say It With Flowers. This should have been a Valentine's Day, like a February dram, in my opinion, with a name like that. So Say It With Flowers is from a first fill ex-bourbon barrel this time around, 9th of March for the distillation date, 156 bottles from the Outturn, 59.2% alcohol. Maybe just a little bit sharper on the nose, citrus-wise, and even going into just a touch of pine sap for me, or spruce tips.
Oh, interesting. I was gonna say it smells like the tops of strawberries, like when you cut the leaves off.
Ooh, that's a nice note. Yeah, I can see that. It's almost like you're picking fresh strawberries.
Like it's got that the vine on there still.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a little bit more round on the nose too. Like it noses like it's going to be a richer dram versus the first one.
Mm.
Little bit of like grapeseed oil on there, maybe
Oh,
something
interesting.
oily.
It doesn't, I mean, I'm a little bit
Hmm.
congested, but it's not overly floral to me. Like
No,
for the
maybe
namesake, I was nervous.
a bit more floral on the palate. Like not going into like full on Gewürztraminer territory wine wise, but
The
like
palate's
vanilla
quite oily.
flower. Mhm. Maybe a little bit of honeysuckle in there as well. Very oily palate. Really nice structure to it as well. Like not quite as shortbready or fleshy as the first one.
There's something very familiar on this palette that I cannot place.
Mhm. Get like a touch of saltiness at the end at all?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you know what it kind of reminds me of? It like oddly tastes like
Mhm.
rose hip oil.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I used to have to I put it on my scar for years and years, and it
Mhm.
just like there's a familiar note in there.
Well, with water, I added a few drops on this one as well, and it goes buttery again, like the first one did on the nose. Kind of
Imagine like
breaks up that spruce tip, sort of sappy citrus I was getting there.
it without water, there's kind of like this nuttiness to it. So
Mhm.
see water kind of bringing that out.
Yeah, almost into not quite into praline territory, but like a combination of like beer nuts meets corn nuts in a weird way. Like you're getting the sweetness of the corn nuts in there as well.
Hmm,
Now I'm thinking corn and I'm getting cherries on there too.
I could see that. Not the corn nuts for me though.
No, that's fair. The
Like,
saltiness is almost like a little bit going into pretzel territory as well.
cool.
It's a nice one.
Yeah, yeah, it's really different.
Yeah,
Actually, I feel like this one I think might need some more time to open up.
agreed. Well, going back to number one for me, the nose is just like chamomile and just nothing else now after that
Really.
one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
unfortunately didn't read your Outturn email, and so I only scored mine about 15 minutes ago. So,
Well, let's try number three and we'll come back around to give them more time. Push Pineapple Shake a Bee, which is a name that I do not quite get the nose of or the name for it. From a first fill bourbon barrel, ex bourbon barrel, sorry, 5th of December for the Outturn, 180 bottles from the for the Outturn and 62.1% alcohol, which is the second highest of the night, I think. Yeah. So sticking in ex bourbon territory.
hmm. This is like honeydew and like maraschino cherries to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Honeydew. Actually, both are a really good call. I I don't know why corn is on my mind. Maybe I'm just thirsting for a bourbon or something like that. But it's got a little bit of kettle corn on the nose for me right now too.
Mm, I see that like the for me it's a little bit of like the you buy that sweet and salty kettle corn
Yeah,
popcorn.
mix.
It leans more on the sweeter in the bag.
Yep.
Yeah. I do get the
Pineapples are mentioned in the
pineapple.
name. Yeah.
There's a little bit of pineapple. To me, it's like um the pineapple's a little overripe. Like you let it sit a little too
Yep.
long and it's starting to go really
Yep.
sweet.
Yep. Maybe a touch woody. Yeah. Uh, they mentioned guavas, waxed lemons, I think is an interesting call on there.
Hmm. I don't think you're supposed to eat waxed lemons.
Yeah. If it's delicious, it's delicious.
Yeah. Oh, I never read the Outturn pamphlet. Probably should. It'd be helpful, maybe.
Oh man. A little bit of coconut on the palate. Uh, like a dusting of milk chocolate with it as well. Almost going into cocoa butter territory, like those the white chocolate. What's that white the Hershey's white chocolate bar with the cookie
The cookies
bits
and
in it?
cream.
Yeah, cookies and cream. Thanks.
Well,
Um, has that creaminess actually on the finish that ends like that too.
to me, that coconut is really prevalent. I was thinking more like Bounty Bar with the milk chocolate.
Oh, good call. A little bit of
That's
lychee.
good. Mm, that kind of acidic, kind of
Mhm.
fruit, passion fruit, even maybe.
Yeah. Going into like that sweetness and creaminess goes into tapioca pudding territory for me as well, with the dusting of cinnamon on it. Mm. Three really like nicely balanced drams for the start here for me, giving
Yeah.
a little bit more of a style of spring than the weather is in Calgary right now.
Yeah, the weather's not fun.
Added a couple drops of water to this one. Brings out the pineapple more.
Mm.
Almost going into like you just cracked a can of those little cans of Dole's pineapple juice territory.
Think this is like one of the
Mm.
quietest chat groups I've ever been on
Yeah,
for
no
a
kidding.
tasting.
Man.
It's so creamy. It's like a sweet cream
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah. Creme brulee is mentioned on there, and I think that's a good call in the tasting notes. The
Like
pineapple really comes out nicely on the palate with water too.
it's like that white freezy, like the white
Oh
cream
yeah.
soda kind of freezy note.
Cream soda is a good call too.
Oh
Man.
yeah. I can like see my brother holding this glass of cream soda, going, look, and it's not my favorite drink.
Uh, well, since we're going over or away a bit from ex-bourbon territory and hitting some sherry after this, at least sherry finish,
Oh, cool.
um, do you guys have a favorite from the first three? And Harmony, do you have a favorite from the first three so far?
Um, yes, but I'm afraid to say it because I added water to two and not like I added a drop to one and two and not the third. And I know that some of them needed more time, but
Yeah.
initially, so my first initial off the first three was I liked the first one a lot, the lemon and lime. But going back to it, I'm not sure if it's still my favorite. It might be
Mhm.
the push a pineapple, shake a bee,
I
torn
just
between
went
the two.
back. I just went back to nose say it with flowers, and it's like full on into Earl Grey tea on the nose,
Oh yeah.
and just a bit of licorice tea in there too. That's a killer nose. I think Say It With Flowers might be my favorite from the first two so far, although I did really like that pineapple note on number three.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I can't smell out of one nostril, like nothing happens when I breathe in. So
Mhm.
I'm working at
Maybe
half,
maybe the high octane one will kind of like drain that out for
just
you.
clear me
We'll
right
see.
up.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so,
Jeremy
because yeah.
says now he smells cream soda on number one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think
Oh
that's a good
yeah.
call.
Yeah. Great call. Yeah, I like them
Just
all. I
yeah, they're all really good. Just a hint of pardon me, uh suntan lotion or sunscreen on number one right now too.
hate when you say that.
Okay,
And
well let's put the first three aside and we'll come back to them. But let's go on to number four, which is Bramble Ramble. So hitting sherry territory here. This is it started its life in an ex-bourbon hogshead. It was finished in a first fill Oloroso hogshead, 22nd of February for the distillation date. 260 bottles from the Outturn, 55.1% alcohol, which is the lowest of the night. Yeah, this still seems tight on the nose for me.
yeah, yeah, good. So we rely on you,
Yeah,
humble folks in the chat.
little bit of dried apricots, marmalade. touch of leather, but a touch of Play-Doh at the same time as well.
Of what, sorry?
Play-Doh.
Oh, Play-Doh. I was like, I don't know. I was thinking kind of like an old old raisins. Like you bought raisins and then you forgot about them and they're starting to go away. Black fruit to me, like it
Mhm.
feels like heavy.
You thinking like plums or going into maybe
Like
currant or blackberry territory?
maybe blackberry
I
or
could see
even
blackberry.
just like dried blueberries even. Oh, the palette is cool.
Mhm.
There's some leather on there and some oak and some
Yeah,
cinnamon.
leather and leather and like orange oils, sort of that used to polish into it.
Yeah.
A bit of cinnamon, maybe even into nutmeg territory, considering the dryness on there. Definitely goes a little bit on the dry side for me on the palate.
Did you say licorice earlier? Or is that a different one?
Uh, on number two, but
Okay.
this does have, like, now that you say it, especially like full on, like a really like hard salty German or Dutch licorice,
Yeah,
on the
Andrew
palate, on the finish. Yeah.
Sammy had licorice and gave some to Chris earlier. It was like black and
Hmm.
all ropey, and they were peeling it, and it kind of smells like that.
Hmm.
Derek
The
says he's
good
getting
licorice.
wintergreen references on the nose.
Yeah, they do mention wintergreen. I think that actually, I just added a few drops and that cooling note comes out more. Actually, a bit of the dried herbs and lemongrass, like going into like a bit of poultry seasoning on the nose right now. Was that sage and rosemary and something else probably? The Play-Doh note is still kind of there in the background, but is blown away with water.
Yeah, it's very salty. I get where you get like Play-Doh.
Yep. Yeah, that salty Dutch and German licorice note again. It even has the mouthfeel, the texture of that dryness, but your mouth was watering at the same time. Note from the saltiness.
Uh,
Jeremy
Jeremy,
says a bit of, yeah, go ahead.
crunchy chocolate bar, honey and caramel for him.
Yeah,
I think those are
that's a
good
good
notes.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah, even going into like that sponge toffee in the caramel bar or the
yeah.
crunchy chocolate bar.
I was thinking like Lara bar,
Yeah.
chocolate nutty ones.
Yeah, it almost has that like gritty powder note of the whey
It
powder in it.
does. Yeah,
This is actually a surprising amount of protein for a Scotch whiskey, this one.
yeah, yeah.
It's added, but
This is workout whiskey.
that's right. Rundle Rock from the band Candy Shop. That's a good call, Graham.
Ah, we need a field trip.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a dense one. Like even I just poured the other half of my sample, which usually I try and wait till the second round, but it's got this like dense dark chocolate note sort of like wafting around in there as well, along with that sort of dense salty licorice.
Yeah. I was too impatient to wait for it to open up, so I just added a drop of water and
Hmm.
immediately the nose opened up for me.
And this wasn't even supposed to be the tightly bound one.
Should start shaking that glass then, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm going to go to number 5 now, and we'll come back to Bramble Ramble. So number 5 is Garbanzo's Cajun Train Ride. This is the Giving Spirit bottle for the quarter as well, where the Scotch Malt Whisky Society of Canada donates all of the money that they make off this to charity, and this time around it's the ocean cleanup. Second fill also bought on here, 5th of November, 529 bottles from the Outturn, 67.7% alcohol.
So who's Garbanzo? Did they say?
I think garbanzo is a bean, isn't it?
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
They put like an apostrophe, and now
Yeah.
it looks like it's like a person.
Yeah, this and push pineapple shake a bee kind of left me scratching my head at the names, but
Yeah, like be nice to bees. Like,
yeah.
okay, so I'll be honest, I can't smell anything, but I feel the burning in my nostrils.
Yeah. It's got some like fig Newton and date notes on the nose for me.
Oh, I love the chat right now. Chickpeas from Graham,
Nice.
and Derek says maple syrup.
Maple syrup, I think, is a good call.
I'm getting, did you say fig Newton?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Even has that breadiness around the outside of the fig Newton there.
Absolutely. It's like maple graham crackers that's
Yeah.
got melted butter on it, and you're just
Oh, that's a
patting
good
it
call.
down on the cookie sheet. You're about to, I don't know, add something on top of it.
Well, and it noses like it's going to have crunchiness of a cracker too. Like you're going into like not quite dark rye, but like a Melba toast cracker territory or toast.
Yeah.
Like there's at least 7 grains in here, maybe 12 grains on that toast.
There's some nuttiness in here too. You said macadamia nuts earlier. Um, and I think this is a little what's that thing I never tried and then I tried it. It's chocolate, it's nuts. It's a macadamia nut spread. Nutella? Is that it?
Oh, that's hazelnut, but I see where you're
Hazelnut,
going.
that's what it is. Thank you. It's
Yeah.
got hazelnuts.
Uh, actually, that's taste it now because it is like Nutella and chocolate and hazelnuts and almonds like exploding on the palate. So chocolatey.
But yeah, it's like it reminds me of my first attempt at making peanut brittle and I burnt the sugar.
Yeah. Oh, it totally has those burnt brown sugar notes too, for
Yeah.
sure. Man, like the it's not just the alcohol volume on this, it's just like it's density that is keeping
Yeah,
this so tight. Like this is
it
a
is.
dense, like hyper rich whiskey.
Well, even if you swirl your glass and look at it,
Yeah.
it just like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
slowest legs in the world. This is like if
Yeah.
I was
I think my
running.
legs are actually like going back up. Like they're rewinding.
There are no legs. It just sits there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Eric says, love the spicy kick here. It does have spice, but it's got this like it's really well put together and integrated with the sweetness of it, so it's not over the top for me. Jeremy says Black Forest cake cherry and chocolate. Yeah,
Yeah.
like hyper dense. This is the keto version of Black Forest cake where it's like I'm not using flour.
I'm curious if anybody did pour their whiskey like an hour ago or like really let it breathe, like what their notes are, and does it change? Because I'm curious because I'm often afraid to add water to something that's heavily sherried. And I know this is very dense and it could be fine, but I only poured mine just 10 minutes before we went live. So about 35 minutes it's been sitting here, and I'm just curious, like if anyone's had theirs in their glass for 90 minutes, like
Mhm.
how does
I just
that?
added a few drops to mine just because I figured a few drops of water would be like adding a few drops of water to a desert on this one. But It does get this cool, like, reminds me of a cinnamon twist donut on the
Well,
nose with water.
and maybe it's just the alcohol in my congested sinuses, but is there menthol notes or is that just alcohol?
Yeah. So the Vicks Vapor Rub that you've got on your chest right now.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It does have a bit of a cooling note on there for sure.
Oh, thanks, Jeremy. He says he's 60 minutes into the glass and added 2 drops of water and it still improves. So thank you. I
It
will add 2 drops as well and give it a
I
little
think the
shake.
water, the 2 drops for me added more spice on the palate, like it split the spice and the sweet up a bit.
Yeah, I see the nod. Yep.
Yeah. Made it a little bit drier on the palate on the finish for me as well. But I don't mind it with water. I think I prefer it without. But man, that is like
It
that
feels
is
more
the
like,
the most chocolatey dram that I can remember having for a while.
yeah, that chocolate goes into like that. You're now sitting at like 70-80% cocoa bark chocolate
Yeah,
from next door, where it's like all cocoa.
yeah.
And I tried
Or
a
like
100% one and it was not for me.
yeah.
This is
It's
good
like
though.
you thought you were like taking a spoonful of
The
like
cinnamon
crushed up
challenge.
Oreo, almost a cinnamon challenge, but it's different than that because it's like you went for like you can get the Oreo crumble of the or the cookie crumble that they
Yeah.
put into the cookies and cream bar. It's like you like went into your cupboard and like thought you were getting a spoonful of that to eat, and it's actually espresso grounds, where it's just like so chocolatey and it almost has this bitterness to it, but it's like drying
Totally.
at the same time.
Yeah. I wish there was coffee notes in here, but there isn't, because then I
Yeah,
could make an excuse to have this at breakfast on occasion.
that's right.
Um, but I don't actually find there to be any coffee or espresso notes. But there is this like beautiful drying bitterness of chocolate that's really nice. Um,
Yeah.
I
It's
think
the crema on a really good espresso. It's not the espresso coffee itself.
this definitely feels like a wonderful bottle to be buying to donate to
Yeah.
the charity. I would love to see the development of this throughout the bottle, like just over time would be very
Oh
cool.
man. I had to click on the link that Eric sent there because that I think that might work well. I'm just gonna share my screen here so everybody can see it. There we go. So Eric says that seems like it might pair really well with this chocolate bar. I haven't tried this, but I do like Lint. Might have to give it a go at some point.
Mm, very cool. And then recycle your
Mhm.
packaging.
Yeah, that's right.
Save the ocean. Oh, this is cool.
Okay.
That's a good one. What's
So
next?
before we go on to the pita territory, let's just do
Ooh,
a favorite 1-2 between the two sherries. Oh, there's almost a bit of smokiness coming out on the number 4 now.
I was
Like
gonna say, is
really,
it just me or is this like spicier or is it just the Lindt chocolate in my
it's like
mind?
smoky and leathery and a little bit wine driven on the nose.
Well, I always thought for me, it felt very leathery,
Yeah, almost like a
like
red wine, like
unpolished.
you're making a red wine reduction right now on the stove.
Mm. To me, it was like a polished leather suitcase, like you just buffed it up and ready to
Mhm.
go.
Yeah, and then the number 5 is still just dense nuts and chocolate. Eric says number 5 is his favorite between the two sherries. uh, Jeremy gets orange creamsicle on number 4 now. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
can see that. It does go into that like soft citrus and creaminess. It's not at the marmalade it started at for me. Good call. Okay, well, let's go into pita territory for the last two. Let's start with number 6. which is called a flashing blade. So this one, I believe,
Oh, this is cool.
if I remember correctly, I did look at some of the society notes on this one, and it looks like they were trying to no, it wasn't a full-on story. I was thinking they went full-on Kill Bill, like where they were trying to describe one of the fight scenes on it, but no. So Flashing Blade is from a First Fill ex-bourbon barrel, 15th of May for the distillation date, 215 bottles from the Outturn, 60.8% alcohol. Gorgeous nose.
It smells like smoky pickles.
Oh, that's a good call.
Immediately, I was like,
yeah.
it's pickled foods, like pickled onions, pickled pickles, like, and it's smoky.
And then for some reason,
And
like
sweet.
there's just a little bit of like creme de violette in there as well. Like there's just this touch of violet or lavender going on there too.
Yeah. And like a bit of sweetness, like straight up sugar
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, marshmallows.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Like you've got some slightly burnt marshmallows for s'mores on the campfire right now.
Oh, and to me, it's like a meat rub that you added like brown sugar
Oh,
and sugar on, and it's got that
yeah,
sweet spiciness.
that's a good call. Oh, I like that nose.
That nose is awesome.
It's almost cigar-like, like just like not the smoke of the cigar, but you're smelling the cigar itself.
Right. So the smoke of the cigar without the allergy effect.
Mm.
No asthma affected here.
Ooh. So I thought this would go creamy right away based on the nose. A little bit oily.
Mm-hmm.
Touch of saltiness, not a ton.
Mm-hmm.
That marshmallow note is still there on the palate for me. A little bit of a burnt edge, but some nice spice too there.
Are you getting a little bit of like chemical polish note?
Mm-hmm.
To
Like
me, it's like,
almost acetone.
yeah, yeah. Band-Aids, absolutely.
Oh, Band-Aids is a
Yeah.
good call. Going back to it, it is almost, it has a little bit of just a touch in behind maybe with the lavender notes of nail polish remover
Yeah,
on there.
that's a good note.
It's like your great aunt has gone to get her hair done and it's currently slightly burning while getting a perm.
I was gonna say she just got back from a perm where
That's right.
it's
Yeah,
not full on getting a perm, but you're not allowed to wash your hair for 3 days.
that's right. It's not like on fire burn, it's a chemical burn,
Yeah, that's right.
but in a good way with this one. Just a little bit of like agave in there too, on the back right now.
Jeremy, you said smoky red licorice, and now I'm getting like cherry
Oh
notes,
man,
smoky nibs and cherries.
good
And stuff.
call on
Very
the
cool.
palate for sure.
Yeah, and it does have like that sweetness in there. Yeah, like sweet and salty sort of texture, salty on the sides of your tongue. Where's that sweet? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it every
I'm adding some water to this one just for kicks. I don't think it needs it.
60.8. Come on, Evan. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I think it's it brings out that pickle note. It goes from like the sour dills into the sweeter dills.
Yeah, that marshmallow comes out more.
Yeah. Yeah, if they made dill pickle cotton candy, this might be what it knows is like.
Oh my God. Oh, my stepdaughter would love that.
That'll probably be at the Stampede this year, actually. They put pickle and deep fry on everything, so.
Oh man, if there was like a society carnival cart,
Yeah, no kidding.
that would be amazing.
I could take it with or
Wonderful.
without with water on there. I think it works both ways. JP says none of them need water.
JP's a trooper.
Yep. Okay, well, let's put that one aside and let's go to the last but not least of the night with number 7, which is, and my French is terrible, so I will not try and do the French, but I believe this is Pouting CHôMEUR at the Shack.
Yeah,
57.9%
it's like
alcohol.
Laffy Taffy. The nose is
Nice.
amazing. There's something else
Oh
in here
man.
I can.
Yeah, that is like full on saltwater taffy. Um,
Marshmallow
so
bacon.
this started its life in an ex-bourbon hogshead, finished its life in a first fill Oloroso hogshead, 3rd of April for the distillation date. 295 bottles from the Outturn, 57.9% alcohol. And this is cool. This was selected uh, and named, and the tasting note was written by Canadian member Matthew Giroux for the Gathering 2023. That is Matthew on the bottle shot there, if you have the pamphlet open here. And he was the winner of uh, the contest that they did to send a Canadian member to Scotland and have them pick a cask and write it up. And this is his cask.
This has got some crazy like Pachuga mezcal notes to it.
I was just about to go there. This
Yeah.
has, it's like, it's got this weird, like, you smeared a marshmallow around the rim of a salted lime margarita.
It's smoky though. Like it's like a
Yeah,
mezcal margarita.
yeah.
Oh,
Or
this is
like you combined a pina colada with a mezcal margarita, maybe.
mm.
Yes, thank you, Patty. Patty says, pudding chômeur is a white custardy cake with brown sugar sauce that is wildly popular in Quebec. Man, that's another just wonderful, wonderful nose.
Mhm.
You know what? It's like you tried to smoke, like actually light and smoke a Popeye cigarette, is what it noses like right now.
Popeye cigarette has come up in
Yeah.
so many tastings in the last little while.
Yep.
Just tapping into our childhood there, hey? And I remember when they stopped putting the powder in it and it was no more powder. You weren't allowed to have that effect for children anymore. And then I got 7,500 flavors of vape. Burnt taffy. Yep. It's like someone poured your mezcal into a dirty ashtray and then decided it was still fine. I mean, Mike, come on, we've all
Yeah.
been there.
It's That's right. Well, and if you're not a mezcal lover at that point, you're just like, wow, it couldn't get any worse, right? Might have improved it.
That's so funny. It's that reminds me of those Lafroig YouTube videos where it's like two friends drink Lafroig and they're put in a room with a bottle. And usually one friend knows what it is and the other one doesn't. But I remember
Mhm.
this girl smelling it going, "Are you for real? Did you dump ashtrays in here? Are you pranking me? I'm not drinking that." Whereas I say, pour me a double. That smells amazing.
That's right. Good. I'll have yours too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't drink it. It's terrible.
Yes. Totally Patty cigarette butts. Yep, it's in there.
It has this it almost goes into this vinegary note on the palate, but doesn't quite get there.
Yeah.
Oil paint, Jeremy Kroll says. Nice note.
Yeah, this is cool.
And it's somehow like added water, and maybe this is bringing it out more. Like it's salty, it's oily, but it's also chalky at the same time, like very mineral
Mhm.
driven and
Yeah,
powdery
and
at the same time.
I can feel that even without the water, like it has that ashy texture. So I could see how with water it kind of solidifies it.
Yeah, man, that is a fun outturn. Okay, well, before we go into the reveal, I'm just gonna nose and quickly taste through once more just for fun, just to see if a favorite jumps out that I haven't touched
Just
on yet.
between the last
Do you
two.
do you have do you guys have a favorite between the first last or the last two before we do the whole round? It's a tough one for me.
Mhm. It's actually I find difficult to go back
Yeah,
to them and compare them. I find that difficult. Mike says
yeah, I
6
agree.
by Miles, 7 for Eric, 7 for Derek, and Cameron says I like 6 a little more than 7.
I think I'm with Cameron on that one personally. I really like 7. I like that for some reason on smoky whiskeys. Uh, I don't mind getting that slight floral note, and I enjoy finding it. So, how about
Well,
you, Harmony?
anytime you say like certain florals, I get excited. I'm like, oh, is this a Bowmore? Could it be?
Yep.
Mm, I don't know. It's tough. Like the nose on 6 was like I could smell that for days and never drink it and be completely happy.
Yep.
But I think the evolution of the palate on 7 has got me. And since we're all about
Hmm.
drinking whiskey, not smelling it,
Hmm.
maybe 7. I don't know. It's tough.
Yep. Well, let's go back to number 1, and we'll do the reveal, and we'll see how things have progressed and changed as they've sat in the glass.
Might need
So
more
back to
water.
number 1, which is lemon and lime shortbread. I will share the link to our website for all these as we're going through as well. I do apologize. I did not get the photos up on time. That totally I totally missed doing that, but I'll get them up tomorrow. You'll just have to take my word that I'm not fooling you on which bottle it is.
Sure, by the end of this
So
round, we'll forgive you.
that's right. Uh, how's this one holding up on the nose? Number 1.
Oh, it's pretty. It's a little bit more floral than the first time. Kind of reminds me of like bath bombs a little bit.
Hmm. I was gonna say a combination of like this is like it's baseball whiskey for me. It reminds me of when my kid was playing t-ball last year in the summer, where it's like dandelions everywhere, and I'm eating sunflower seeds.
Cool. I was gonna say it reminds me of hand soap.
Well, my kid definitely needed a lot of that after playing baseball in the dirt. So
Yeah.
mm, great palate still. Actually, like it's not even just going back to it after the smoky stuff. It's like it's not bursting out of the glass, but it's still really well put together, even with it trying to combat the smoke on my palate right now.
Oh, it's really nice.
Mhm.
Tons of orange and lemon and cinnamon and yeah,
So
really
this
great.
one is, let's see, it is 10 years old from Speyside. Cask number is 35.348, which means it's the 348th cask bottled by the SMWS from Glen Murray Distillery.
Cool.
Which is a lot of people, for a lot of people, one of the favorite SMWS bottlings they find is a 35. There's been tons and tons of really good 35s over the years. We've talked about it before, and we've talked about it even in non-society tastings, how Glen Murray just seems to
Yeah.
combine and amalgamate and create something beautiful no matter what cask you put it in. Even in a plain cask like a second fill ex bourbon barrel, and even at a relatively young age of 10 years old, um,
Mm,
still shows beautifully.
yeah. I have not had much exposure to this, but of our Berry Brothers Kensington Wine Market casks, the Glen Murray is definitely in
Yeah.
my top 10.
Yeah.
We
Well,
had a lot.
it's Glen Murray always, especially when you put it in a lineup, it tends to be a sleeper. Unless it's one of their weird and wild casts that they've used, like an Outturn or a toasted oak barrel or something like that. But it kind of embraces the second fill bourbon barrel and just rolls with it really, really nicely, in my opinion.
Okay. So somebody who's new to the society, have they bottled one recently? Is there anything that we've had that would be
Yeah,
Glen Murray?
so there has been a Glen Murray since this one, but this is a sister cast to 35.309 Darwin's Tipple.
Oh, okay.
And there have been, boy, I don't have them off the top of my head, but there have been some 35s since then. A
Okay.
couple of the 35s that we've had in the Outturn have been, or in recent Outturns, I think, or more recent Outturns have been less naked than this, where they've been either finished in sherry. Actually, I think they have been finished in sherry, if I remember correctly, but could be wrong there.
Oh, whiskey pudding. I loved that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one was good.
Excellent. Yes, that was awesome. I had my pick on that for until it was gone. Yeah. Dibs on the
Yeah,
heel. Just kidding.
that's right.
Cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so price on lemon and lime shortbread 35.348 is 175. Oh, nice. Yeah, Desert Island Dram or Desert Island Dream was a really good one too. One of my favorite uh bottlings for a long time, that because I love the name to it from years ago too, was To Infinity and Beyond, which was a total Toy Story reference, but it was also a toasted oak matured, I don't think finished, but matured like 25-year-old Glen Murray that
Ooh.
was got these cool bourbon-esque notes to it that were just fantastic.
Is it in your
Okay,
cupboard there?
on no, it's
Gone.
I think I did have a heel of it, but it is long gone.
Right on.
Okay, back to Say It With Flowers, number 2.
It's
Oh,
very
that
pretty.
citric, yeah, that bar lime note is coming through again for me.
Mm-hmm.
Still floral.
Mm.
It's like lime and orange blossoms, maybe. Hmm. Ooh. Um, versus the first one there, this just has a little bit more of a like a citric zing on the palate that I quite like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Well, we'll see after number 3 there. I think that still might be my personal favorite of the three, the ex-bourbon trio, but they're all good.
It's got quite a dry finish though after that acidity
Hmm.
comes in. Like it gets you going and then it just like
Yeah. Then
becomes
it's like,
very
I need another
dry.
drink. Yep.
Yeah, you gotta keep chasing that.
That's right. Chasing that dragon. So this again is from Speyside. This is a little bit older at 12 years old, from the 9th of March 2010. And the cast number is 46.140, which makes this a Glen Lossy, if I remember correctly. It's got just a touch of like a French toast note right on the nose right now for me too. Mm. And on the palate with a little
There's
bit of
like
honey.
a hint of Thrills gum in here.
Yeah, just a touch of soapiness.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's part
So
of the flower territory though.
totally. So 46.140 from Glenlossie, like I said, this is 189.99. Glenlossie doesn't really see any official bottlings under the Glenlossie name, if I remember correctly,
Okay.
at the moment. We do see some independent bottlings of Glenlossie. There's been quite a few, or a few really good ones from the society. There was one with tannin in the name a while back, if I remember correctly. Let's see, Glenlossie.
Like perfect for tannin.
Yeah, I believe that. I think,
That was
unless
just
that was a
not that long
64.
ago.
Yeah. So Glenlossie is Diageo, so it does get a flora and fauna bottling, but nothing over here. But yeah, makes some really cool whiskey, and usually is well known for having some really nice structure to add into blends.
Hmm.
Okay, on to, or do I have a sister cask for this one? I don't think I do. No. On to number 3, Push Pineapple Shake a Bee.
Okay, I think of the three, this is my favorite. The nose just lights me up and just makes me
Yeah,
really happy. Yeah.
it is. It still has that pineapple note all over the place for me in a good way.
Mm-hmm. And a little syrupy kind of
Yep.
notes. And there's still like there's some red fruit in there. Like I'm
Yeah.
still sticking with my strawberries, like strawberry leafiness and
Maybe it's probably just the pineapple messing with me, but it reminds me of like getting on my honeymoon in Maui, and we got Mai Tais, and they float like the 151 rum on top, and it's like smelling the rum with just a little bit of the pineapple coming through on there.
very nice.
Mm.
Should pour some of
Yeah,
this for
beautiful palate.
Mrs. and see what she says.
And she'd be like, scotch.
I was gonna
She's
say,
not a
oh,
whiskey fan.
I'm
Yeah.
nostalgic and I want to jump your bones.
Nope. No, if I want that to happen, scotch is definitely not the way, unfortunately. Life would be so much easier considering how much aphrodisiac I would have sitting behind me right now.
It's okay. I'm in the same boat. Tony doesn't care about scotch either.
Okay, back to number 3. Number 3 is still in Speyside. Uh, right between age-wise between number 1 and 2, which were 10 and 12 years old. This is an 11-year-old from Speyside. From the 5th of December 2011. Cask number on this one is 39.284, which means it's the 284th cask from Linkwood Distillery, another Diageo-owned
Ooh,
distillery. Another distillery that doesn't necessarily get a lot of official bottlings. It has had some from time to time, but is loved by blenders and independent bottlers.
you don't see a lot of bourbon liquid.
No, and I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of the Linkwoods we've seen have been from Gordon MacPhail,
Yeah,
and
they love their sherry.
yeah, and I have to say, like,
Well,
one of the oldest bottles I've ever had was a Gordon MacPhail Linkwood. It was a 1964, and it
mm,
was sherry. You couldn't get a more sherry whiskey. Like, it was sherry to the point of like having this almost bitter hoppiness on the palate, but it
oh,
was stunning.
cool. I mean, like
Yeah.
Signatory does liquid, but they're also drowning it in sherry. I would have
Hmm.
never guessed. Yeah, it's something about that sherry has always been a part of my mental signature of
The
liquid as like
perception of liquid, for
its
sure.
neediness I thought was the spirit, and now I realize it's the sherry.
Yeah. Well, like this isn't like a thin dram by any means. I think it's more lush than the Glenlossie and the Glenmurray. That's why we put it at number 3. But um, it really shows what the spirit can do on its own. And those pineapple notes are great in this one.
Well, I'm glad, like, so I don't know how you guys rate at home, but I'm terrible at remembering certain things. So the more I like a product, the closer my empty bottle is to my body.
That's a
So
good way to do it.
the
To your
less
heart.
I
To your
like
heart.
it,
Yeah.
the further away I put my sample. I'm not going to move my glass, but I'll move the little sample bottle. And this push pineapple shake a bee is like at the end of my
Yeah.
desk close to me. And
Yeah. It's
I'm
on the
happy.
precipice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy that I learned the distillery after making that judgment because I've always liked Linkwood.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm happy to learn about it in this like semi-naked form because it's always
Hmm.
been sherried and I've
Cool.
always liked it. Um, Derek, you're a good man. Uh, um, but yeah, no, this is very cool. I had no idea.
That is a smart guide to use because I rely on my memory, and usually by after seven, my memory is not great.
Yeah. And then like imagine being a natural blonde like myself and being gifted like really deep roots of that blonde. It
Hmm.
makes memorizing things very hard. But loving that, loving that.
Yeah, that's a cool way. I think number two still slightly wins out for me just because it's a little bit quirkier, but I wouldn't be upset with any of those.
Yeah. What is the price on this push a
Oh,
pineapple
thank you.
shake? Tea? No, thanks,
So
Derek.
price on Push a Pineapple Shake a Bee is 187.99. Thank you, Eric. And link is in there just up there if you guys are looking for it as well. Okay, on to number four, Bramble Ramble.
Hmm, right. It's
This is
quite
going back
juicy.
into that blackberry territory right now for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like almost going into blueberry and blackberry pancake syrup
I
on
was
the
gonna
nose.
say
Yeah,
blueberry pancakes.
yeah. It's like, and maybe a bit of strawberry rhubarb pancake syrup in there too. Like it's at I'm at a high IHOP right now.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just those syrups coming at you from earlier today.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, so to me, this kind of
Such a nice
smells
nose.
like when you buy the pre-mixed, just add oil and egg, like blueberry muffin mix.
Oh, good call.
This is
Yeah, yeah, that's a good call. I think it was Chris that brought in this was the blueberry muffins the other day, and it knows us like that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, and that is going sweet, sweet, sweet on the palate now.
There's a little spiciness in there though.
There's a little bit of spiciness, and almost like where you can see that wine cask coming in. Uh, like,
Wine cask, you say?
well, sherry. It's
Uh,
wine.
I wasn't sure if you were alluding.
So this is from the Highlands this time. Uh, this is 68.106, and that makes it, I gotta look it up again. I think I've got it. Yes, this is the 106th bottling of Blair Athol
Cool.
from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. I'll share that uh, link right now. So this guy is 14 years old, spent 11 years in an ex-bourbon hogshead before being transferred to a first fill Oloroso hogshead. 22nd of February 2008 for the distillation date. And price on Bramble Ramble for this Blair Athol is 68,106, or pardon me, 229.99. Not the number again.
It finishes like coffee crisp, like a stale coffee
Hmm.
crisp.
Is there a non-stale coffee crisp?
Well, I mean, like the one bite size, like not like a nice big
Okay.
fresh bar, like the
Uh,
one bite.
So the Halloween candy
Yeah.
coffee crisps. I got you.
Hmm. That's what I'm getting, that like sponge toffee, sort of coffee note.
Yeah. So this will come to as a shock to everybody, but get this. Blair Athol is a distillery owned by Diageo.
No,
Yeah. Get out.
no.
Yeah. It doesn't get a whole lot of official bottlings. Yeah, Eric is shocked.
How?
Um, yeah, I think J&B is one of the blends that it goes into quite a bit, if I remember correctly. And the fruitiness is just that one, I think definitely got better as time went on.
And there's a nice like minerality, like I
Yeah,
like there is you mentioned it earlier, like a chalkiness to
yeah.
it. It is. It's like, yeah, something like you're cutting marble and marble powder.
Hmm.
Yeah. My glass is empty. Someone shorted my pour on that one, I think.
Oh,
Who pours these things?
yeah, I know. Quality control. Uh, Price on 68-106 is 230. Next
That's
up is the highest octane of the night with Garbanzo's Cajun Train Ride. Is this still all hazelnuts and chocolate? Oh, bit more maple syrup on the nose now for me.
there's kind of like this nice like worn rubber note in there as well. I
Yep.
like. Yeah.
A little bit of cattle wax too for me, but it's still so concentrated that I nose it and I feel like a blue screen where it's just like my brain locks up. It cannot
Yeah.
get anything out of there.
It's just trying to compute the alcohol.
That's right. That's right. It's trying to get by it. Just,
Rebooting, rebooting.
yeah, that's right. Mike B says it took 2 hours, but I finally got something other than burning on the nose. There you go. So it's
Yeah,
not
but
just me.
that's the only tasting note on the bottle for this one. It just says burning um
Yeah.
on the label.
Yeah. Ow, ow, ow.
That's what your brain is saying.
Yeah. Still has that Nutella note. It almost like, and probably because of the sherry. I don't get any peat on this, but it does have this sort of like dense salami slash prosciutto slash bacon note for me on the nose right now, even into beef jerky territory. Teriyaki sauce, let's say, just for kicks.
Hmm.
Actually, not even teriyaki sauce. It's a hoisin sauce. Hmm. That I'd have to side by side them,
Yeah.
but that might just be about as dense as our Tobermory single cask. You think our
Maybe this
Tobermory
might be
still nukes it?
denser.
Yeah, could be. I
I
think
think
our
it might be.
Tobermory actually is more expressive right out of the
Yeah.
gate,
Yeah.
but this still has layers. It's just this is a tough onion to peel. I'm gonna add more water to this just to see what happens.
Mike, if you're afraid you're not going to remember to pour this early, pour it early before the friends come early. And that friend you know is going to bring you something really good. And then you drink theirs first. And then you
Yeah,
will
that's right.
discover this later and be like, oh, wicked.
Yeah. With water goes into a little bit of peanut brittle
Yeah. Yeah.
And chocolate fudge, tons of chocolate fudge.
Absolutely. And even like white chocolate fudge. Actually, uh,
Oh,
Eli
I like the palate of water.
Eli brought some weird fudge into the store the other day, and it reminds me of this. And I say weird because it was gray and we didn't know what it was, but it had to be
Okay.
a type of fudge.
So expired fudge is what you're saying.
No, not fuzzy brown turned white. It was like, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it's
Yeah. It's got a half-life, I think, fudge, so probably takes a while.
I added more water, like a considerable amount of water, and now I understand your meat notes. I didn't before,
Mhm.
and now I do. It is like salty prosciutto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost
Oh, yeah.
into burnt end territory.
Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Barbecue
Barbecue
pork
pork
buns.
buns. That's a good call.
Eric says, so don't add water. These are not
Yeah.
notes he likes. Yes.
Yeah. It definitely takes the water like a desert. Like it takes a lot of it
Yeah.
to make
It was
the
like a
water
full
come through.
pipette. So
Yeah.
if you want dessert, don't add water. If you want a meal, add water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fun dram.
Yeah.
So that is Scotch Malt Whiskey Society Highland Dram. This is 78.65, which means this is the 65th cask from Ben Nevis Distillery,
Oh, that makes sense.
followed by the SMWS. This is, where are we here? I don't have an age, so it's from 2013. I think this is like an 8 or 9 year old, if I remember correctly. I'll have to look
Okay.
that up back at work, but nice, Graham. So we had another high octane Ben Nevis, I believe, from the society. This is a sister cast of 78.62, which was At Home on the Range, which was the one I was trying to think of, which again was a fairly tightly wound dram. This one is a bit more chocolatey, if I'm remembering correctly, though. And of course, this is the Giving Spirit bottle, which means that the SMWS is donating all the proceeds they make to the was it the Ocean Rescue?
Ocean cleanup. Yeah.
Ocean Cleanup, thank you. Price on 78.65 is 188.99. And here is the link. So Garbanzo's is good. Second time around, I'm saying Bramble Ramble is my favorite of the two sherries.
Mm. I have a Bramble Ramble is slightly out nudging the Garbanzo in the mini bottle race
Yeah.
to the edge of
On
the
the
desk.
race to the floor, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Revenue. Sorry, JP. I think I misspoke there. I believe it is all the revenue, not all the profit. So more money than just the profit. They donate there. Okay, to the last two peated territory bottlings, which are starting with a flashing blade. How's this one holding up?
Beautiful.
Oh man, is it ever? I don't think that nose has really changed much, actually.
I don't think so.
Oh, that's still like smoking like or nosing unlit cigar for me.
Patty, it tastes so good. It's like you never dropped it in the first place. Patty dropped her kit and had to come back for a refill on this one. And she said she didn't know it broke until she smelt scotch.
Yeah,
I think this is definitely the smell of scotch.
yeah. And for those of you that are thinking, oh, all I have to do is say it broke and I'll get a free one from Kensington Wine Market, we did have to see the evidence.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very broken.
And I
Oh, it
love
was
that
just so
nose.
beautiful.
Still has that lavender / violet note to it.
Oh, this is
Mm,
so yummy. And there's like jube no, jelly beans, not jubes.
nice.
Definitely jelly beans.
Yeah. I was just going to say, it reminds me of if you've ever had the Earl Grey donut at Hoopla or from Hoopla,
Yeah.
which usually if Andrew or someone brings them in, I usually take the whole damn donut. I don't leave or just cut it a bit up for somebody else to try. Oh
I was
no,
gonna say
that
I've
one's
seen
mine.
the
Yeah,
outskirts of it in the box,
yeah.
but
Just the
yeah.
purple dust that's left behind.
Yeah. That was the first hoopla donut I ever tried when I worked at the other place that will not be named
Mhm.
down the plus 15, and they opened up. It was very good.
Mhm. Oh, such good dram. This one has a bit of that. I think I said chalkiness on the last one, on the last round, but it's got a bit of chalky creaminess on the palate on this one.
It's
Lovely,
definitely
lovely
creamy.
dram. So this one is not Scotch. It is a
What?
single malt whiskey. Yeah, I think I saw Derek say what at the same time you did. This is a single malt whiskey from Sweden, from High
Wicked.
Coast Distillery. It is 7 years old, and it is wicked. High Coast has been doing uh, some pretty good whiskey from even before they were called High Coast Distillery, back when they were called Box Distillery.
Yes.
Um, but this is, I think this is the second High Coast bottling we've gotten here. Let's see. This is 144.4 for the numbering. 144 is only our second bottling from High Coast. This is Kelly's words to me. The first being 144.1 Searingly Sweet Purple Smoke, which was gorgeous back in March of 2021. That one did not last. And for the peat heads in the crowd, this is peated at 45 ppm, that's Lafroig territory right there.
Mhm.
Thank you, Eric, with the chiming in with the 144.1. Man, this is a killer dram. Can't wait to go back to the last one, but I do think this might be my favorite still of the two peated ones.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And they were at the Banff Whiskey Experience and they were pouring three bottlings that haven't, like three cask samples that hadn't
Yeah,
even been bottled, and they were awesome.
yeah.
Um, they had one that he kept describing, it's soy sauce, it's soy sauce. And I was like, oh, cool, it's gonna be this like big, meaty, salty dram. And then I picked it up, and I mean, it looked like soy sauce, but it wasn't. It was just like the most beautiful, fruity, sherried whiskey ever. And I was like, my brain and my palate are very confused by what you said. And he's like, oh, it looks like soy sauce. And I was like, okay, I wanted like a meaty dram right now, but this is very nice.
Yeah,
It should
yeah.
be out.
I haven't had enough experience with their unpeated whiskey,
Yeah.
but their peated whiskey is dialed in.
Oh, yeah. Lars is doing very good work up there.
This is like there's notes on this that Lafroig doesn't get until it hits like its mid 20s, which
Mhm.
is really cool. Mm. That's the first dram I've finished tonight. Um, I am totally out of that one. That sucks. 144.4, a flashing blade, price is 237.99. And last but not least, back to the bottle named by a Canadian, POUDING CHôMEUR at the Shack. How's this one doing? Oh man, So it was Patty that said what POUDING CHôMEUR was, where it's in a, was it a butter sugar sauce or a toffee sauce? And it just noses like a toffee sauce right now. With a touch of maple syrup.
Mm. Caramelized tequila. Yes.
Nice. That's a
Very
cool
cool.
note.
Yeah.
That would be an awesome bottle name right there too.
Yeah.
Like a touch of salty bacon, like maybe even just bacon bits there.
Oh yeah. Bacon covered syrup, bacon fudge,
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
bacon.
Brown sugar sauce was what I was looking for there, Eric.
Yeah.
Hmm. It's like you made ice cream with shellfish on the palate. Like there's probably squid ink ice cream out there. That this is like you used like some langoustines and prawns and stuff and made some ice cream with it in a good way.
Oh, none of that sounds good.
I think you just blue screened based on what I said there.
I just inked, scared of your ice cream. Like
This I'm sure shrimp ice cream is a thing in Korea
Oh, I'm sure
somewhere like that. Yeah.
it's got to be a thing somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, a Spanish paella. That you know what? You're probably onto something there, Jeremy. Oh, Eric has found squid ink ice cream for us.
Uh, but
I gotta
I
check
don't
this
know
out.
why people are all into squid ink. I've tried it many times and it's never good.
This is totally Japanese or Korean. I'm guessing Japanese.
The more I try it, the smaller I feel. I never feel cultured. I feel judged and confused. I, I feel more Western than I ever have. Of
Oh, it's Japanese.
course.
Wild.
With extra ink. Awesome.
Yeah. My wife is going to Japan to see a friend in the summertime, so I will have to ask her to try some squid ink ice cream for me.
Yeah, don't ask her to bring it
Yeah,
back. It
yeah,
probably
yeah, that's
won't
right.
travel well.
Yeah, everybody wants some squid ink curdled milk, don't they?
Oh, oh, thank you. Oh, I like this.
Yeah, me too. This one is. I'm jealous of the guy that got to name this one. Good name though.
How do you get to name a spirit in the society? Like,
So this was totally a a raffle they did, essentially a contest where they each were a bunch of different chapters, including Canada, got to hold a contest to see which of their members would get sent to Scotland to name a bottle. Uh, Unfortunately, if you were an employee of a liquor store that sold SMWS bottles, you were not allowed to enter, which is total bullshit.
that
I'm
sucks.
going on the record. Yeah.
Yeah.
But uh, this one is a fantastic dram. I'm glad it was found for us and named for us
Yeah.
by Matthew Giroux. So, POUDING CHôMEUR. Uh,
Mm.
Graham, who makes the Earl Grey donut? Hoopla Donuts. Hoopla Donuts is owned by Phil and Sebastian of Phil and Sebastian coffee fame. Their donuts are just as good as their coffee, in my opinion, which is absolutely top notch. So this is, and I don't know if this will be a surprise. I don't know if I could have blinded this one as this distillery. I probably could have, but maybe not. This is 53.456 Love that number there, 3456.
Yeah.
53.4.456 is the 456th cask of Kalila, followed by the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. This
Yeah.
is 9 years old, spent 6 years in an ex-bourbon hogshead before being transferred to Oloroso.
Is it a
You know
first
that,
fill?
I believe it was first fill Oloroso. Let me see if I can find that. First fill Oloroso hogshead.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I would have guessed otherwise. It's like the
Yeah.
sherry's there, but it doesn't completely take over for being in there between 2 and 3 years.
Yeah.
Still has just a little bit of the Kalila note to it, which is distillery number 53. Totally get that shellfish and oiliness and coastal territory saltiness and
Yeah.
saline. But man, those brown sugar and toffee notes on this one just like take it up a notch, as they say. Price on 53.456 pudding CHôMEUR at the Shack is $211.99. And I will share that here. Man. Yeah, it's tough. Like I really like that High Coast, but now coming back to the Kalila, they are neck and neck, in my opinion.
Yep.
Mm. Well, that was a super fun outturn. Harmony won't be around for it, but I will be presenting this live tomorrow at Kensington Wine Market at 2 more tastings, which means I get to taste through this again twice, which I'm thankful for. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the outturn. Thank you, Harmony, for joining me on this one as well. Despite the only having one nostril to rely on.
I think they're opening up now.
Yeah. The nostrils or the whiskeys?
Who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was awesome. I liked all of them for different reasons.
Same here.
Yeah.
That was I wouldn't throw at anything in the lineup.
Yeah.
Outturn for me. I would be, it would be hard to give a least favorite for me personally on this one. Patty is again angry that she loves the most expensive drams out there. Patty, that's not our fault. We just present you with the choices. But again, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Harmony. I've got to take off and maybe help put some kids to bed. So hopefully we will see you in May, if not before that, at the outturn. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. Cheers.
Awesome. Good night.